Hello everyone! Today we are reading The Legend of the Bat story by Segundo D. Machas Jr. and illustrated by Gani Madueño. In the beginning, there were only as many kinds of birds flying through the skies as one could count with his fingers. Each kind of birds had its own family. The bat family was regarded as having the most beautiful and colorful wings. They had long tails. Aside from those features, they also possessed softly glowing eyes. In a forest one day, the goddess appeared bearing terrible news. There shall be 3 days and 3 nights of endless rain. Birds of my creation, let us be prepared for this. Store up on food. In the tallest baleta tree in the center of that forest, all the birds, led by the eagles, gathered together with each of their families, like the warblers, the crows, the pigeons, the herons, and the bats. We must work together to gather food, advised the spokesman of the eagles. The birds came to an agreement that the food they collected will be brought and stored in the balete. Everyone would contribute food in preparation for the 3 days of endless rain. Before nightfall, all of the birds would come to meet at the balete. They would wrap the food they collected with banana leaves and hang them from the branches of the balete. The bat family alone was unable to bring food. Chief Eagle, we apologize, but we really have nothing to contribute. We are already furnished from searching the entire forest, but we could not find any food, said the father of the bats. Secretly, each night when the other birds were asleep, the bats carried out their search for food. They put away the food they found inside a big cave they discovered far away from the balete. Before long, the 3 days and 3 nights of never-ending rain was upon them. The birds took shelter under the thick branches of leaves of the tall balete. Out of the pity for the bat family, their fellow birds gave them a share of the food they had collected. There they happily ate whenever they were hungry. But when the 3 days of endless rain was over, all the birds were surprised when they detected a foul smell. The chief eagle tracked down the source of the smell. When he came to a distant cave, he was horrified when he saw the spoiled, rotten food. These were no longer of any use. When the goddess learned about the spoiled food, she became angry. Who is responsible for this? The young bat was frightened and could not help but speak up. Father told us to hide the food we collected here, and not to tell the other birds about it. If the food ran out the balete, we would still have some and would not run out of it. The father bat was ashamed and miserable. Forgive me, beloved goddess. I cannot forgive you, bats, for your shrewdness. I shall punish you for what you've done, the goddess replied through her gritted teeth. At that same instant, the appearance of the bats was suddenly transformed. Everyone was astonished when they saw that their beautiful, colorful wings had been replaced by furry, black ones. At the spring, the bats caught sight of the new wings the goddess had given them. They were greatly shocked at what they saw. Please forgive us. Give us a second chance. We will not be shrewd anymore, pleaded by the father bat. The goddess thought for a moment. All right, I will give you one more chance, but the moment you repeat what you have done, I will not forgive you again. We promise, answered the bats in unison. The goddess immediately took back the curse. She gave back to the bats their beautiful wings. One day, the goddess again called the birds to a meeting. The king's sun and mother moon will hide themselves in the sky for 7 days and 7 nights. Ask the king's sun to give you light so you can collect it. You will need the star of light to guide you through the forest when the 7 days of darkness comes, she commanded. The birds worked together. Under the leadership of the chief eagle, they all asked the king's sun for light. The king's son put the light he gave to the birds inside the dried branches of a madri cacao. The birds then hung them from the great balete. But just the same as before, the bats again pleaded with the other birds. Forgive us, we could not get any light, said the father bat. Why? The chief eagle sternly asked. The sun's light is too bright, said the father bat. It hurts our eyes and we cannot get near it, said the mother bat. The chief eagle approached the young bat. Are your mother and father telling the truth? The bats nodded. Never mind, said the dove. Chief Eagle, we will gather the light of ourselves. We will just give them some of it. To avoid a dispute, all the birds agreed with the dove's proposal. Again, all the birds, with the exceptions of bats, made their way to the king's son to ask for light. When they filled up the balete, it gathered brightly with so many lights. But without the knowledge of the other birds, at nightfall, when everyone was asleep, the bats were collecting lights. They asked for it from the mother moon. The bats again hid the light they gathered inside the distant cave. When the king's sun and mother moon hid themselves in the sky, all the birds carried light to guide them on their way. The bats depended on the companions to give them light. But before the 7 days of darkness had even passed, all the birds except for the bats had run out of light. The birds became suspicious and headed for the cave. What they saw gave them a great shock. The chief eagle turned to the bats and cried, "You bats are shrewd by nature. You began hoarding again so that when our stores have been used up, you would still have something for yourselves," said a dove. "You are deceptive," said a heron. "Selfish," said a parrot. "Stingy," shouted a crow. "Liars," yelled a warbler. The goddess heard what happened, so she went to see the birds. "Please forgive us," the father bat pleaded once again. "I cannot forgive you this time for what you have done. You will come to regret this." The words of the goddess were gentle but firm. With just one wave of her hand, she transformed the appearance of the bats. The other birds were startled by what they saw. The beautiful, colorful wings of bats were turned into hairy black wings. Their bodies were covered in black fur as well. And not only that, their faces had also changed. Large ears slowly sprouted from them, their snouts and noses bulged out, and their soft, glowing eyes became glaring and fierce. When the bats saw their faces in the spring, they were shocked by their new appearance. "From now on, you can only fly and search for food at night. You will continue to be afraid of the king's sun's rays. That is what you deserve," said the goddess. "Have pity on us," all the bats said together. "From now on as well, you shall not be counted among the birds I created. We are different kinds of animal," she said in conclusion. The bats were about to turn to the goddess again to ask for forgiveness, but she had already vanished. "Chief Eagle, we are sorry. We will give you the light that we collected. Help us convince the goddess to give us back our old appearance," begged the father bat. "Have pity. Help us," begged the mother bat. "I told you so, father. What we're doing was wrong. What will happen to us now?" the young bat tearfully said. "What the goddess says is final. There is nothing we can do," said the chief eagle, then he flew away. The other birds went to follow their leader. From then on, those events became a frequent subject of conversation among the birds. "I feel sorry for the bats," said a dove. "Why would they deserve pity? They tired us out when they had food and light after all," replied a heron. "That's right. They don't deserve pity. They should be punished," said the crow. The goddess gave them another chance after their first offense, but they did not appreciate it. They did not take it seriously. "Regret always comes last, my friends," said the chief eagle. From then on, the bats never mingled with the other birds again, for they only flew at night to look for food. But they developed a remarkable habit. Whenever they alighted on the branches, they hung upside down with their heads towards the ground. According to the birds, it is because they are ashamed of their appearance, and that is why their way of showing remorse for their sins. They themselves choose for their own free will to change the traits completely.